That's how many people get infected. Or the chlorine, when we drink tap water, the chlorine in the water will kill 99.9% of bacteria and even parasites, but that's a small percent that's not killed.
Hey, this is Dr. Colbert's broadcast, and I'm Kyle Colbert. I'm here with my dad, Dr. Don Colbert, my mom, Mary, and my wife, Meredith. And we have an incredible topic today. We are talking about parasites.
Yes, we are. And
Alice.
Oh my, we are.
The first thing I want to start with, just letting people know what you don't know may be killing you.
Or causing problems,
Major problems. This morning, Don was going over some of what he's going to be talking to you about, and I just thought that out of absolute popular demand, we're doing this show because this is on the minds of so many people of what's going on, and it's a good thing it is. Because, Don, you've got full of information about
there's
this.
so much about this, but we need to dive in it because there's a lot. There's a lot to this.
It gets gross. I want to warn you. It does. But he's going to give you answers. So stay with us. Don't go anywhere. Go ahead.
Okay, first of all, we find that parasite infections are estimated to be increasing here in the U.S. For example, approximately 60 million people are chronically infected with this Toxoplasma parasites that we get from cats.
Cats. So everybody watching, if you've got a cat,
if you're a cat
is this
lover,
for anyone who's got any kind of animal?
Oh, yes. And cats and dogs are major sources of parasites. The poop of cats and dogs. Cats tend to carry this Toxoplasma, which is we're going to talk about in just a minute. But we're seeing so many more parasites. For example, Trichomonas is a parasite that is one of the most common causes of sexually transmitted diseases. And about 3.7 million people get this every year.
Mike.
So this is crazy how high that is.
Sexually transmitted
disease?
Yes.
And yes.
But totally separate from cats.
Totally separate from cats. I know both are. One is Toxoplasma, one is Trichomonas, and then there's Toxocara. Toxocara antibodies are found in about 5 to 14% of people, which are parasitic roundworms, in the intestines of dogs and cats. They carry these intestinal roundworms. You pet it, and you pet the animal. See, the animal rolls around in the dirt or in the sand or in the grass, and they get these worm eggs on their skin, on their fur, and then you pet them, and then you eat, and you transfer it in your mouth, and they hatch into these worms. We're going to show you.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands, yeah.
Wash your hands.
What I worry about is our friends, when we go to our friend's house, eat dinner or for the kids to play.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I want to go over to my friend's house, and that, they have cats, and then they bring it back.
Or they put their hands on the surface in the kitchen, and they don't clean it with like Clorox or something that kills these parasites. And then they lay the food there on the table where the parasite eggs are and transfer the eggs over to the food, and then you ingest it, and then boom, you hatch larvae that form worms. They mate, and then the cycle begins.
Clorox. What about those natural cleaners? Can those?
Well, you use natural cleaners. Those work. Sure, they will. Okay. Pinworm infections infect about 40 million Americans per year. 40 million, and it's so easy to clear up. And then another is Giardia. That's a protozoa. See, there's different types of parasites we're going to talk about. But Giardia is a protozoa that infects about 1 million a year, and it causes this chronic diarrhea that I had back in the mid-'90s when I was out, skiing and wakeboarding and swallowed a lot of the lake water. Do you know what the main sources of parasite infections are? It's real simple.
Food.
Close. Any other? Water. It's our water. See, what happens is parasites usually end up in the water. The eggs many times are in the water. We drink the water, or we go to the lake and we ingest the lake water, or pond water, or river water, or stream water, and they got parasites. That's how many people get infected. Or the chlorine, when we drink tap water, the chlorine in the water will kill 99.9% of bacteria and even parasites, but that's a small percent that's not killed. And so you can get it from your water's the main way.
I imagine the ones that aren't killed are like the super parasites, like parasites, if they can withstand,
Yes, and again, the brackish water, the pond water, the lake water that we ski in many times are teeming with these parasites.
What about rainwater? Are they in rainwater?
Well, rainwater that runs into lakes and ponds, yeah.
Okay, but not like if you go outside.
No, it's not going
raining
to
on
be.
you.
No,
Yeah,
it's
but
not
you,
that.
yeah, you don't want to drink rainwater because of all the chemtrails and stuff.
Right.
In the water.
But it's found mainly.
That's a whole other.
Yeah, but it's in our water. Number one, food, and then again, the biggest thing are pets. About 50% of Americans own pets. 38% on dogs, 24% on cats. And these parasites, especially the parasitic worms, and the Toxoplasma lives in cats, but the parasitic worms lives in the intestines of dogs and cats.
Dogs too?
That's right. Oh my goodness, yeah.
Cats.
No, dogs and
We have
cats.
to be worried about dogs?
Yes, I'm going to show you exactly. And so again, the parasitic worms are increasing in the U.S., mainly due to the immigration that we're seeing. We're seeing lots of international travel. Immigrants are coming in and bringing their parasites, and the globalization of food. See, when we import fruits and vegetables, and the most common places we import food from is Mexico, Honduras, and Peru, well, the food handlers many times transfer their parasites over to the food. So we're getting the parasites on our food if we don't wash it when it comes from Mexico, Honduras, South America, Peru and places like that. Many times that's how you get your parasites. You just lay those avocados, that fruit on the in the kitchen, and then the parasite eggs are there with it many times. Okay, so the most common source is drinking water.
Okay, because I know people are like, "Wow, their brains are broke." You want to wash everything before you put it in your mouth. Your oranges, your apples, your bananas. You really do want to wash everything, even
If it's
before you
imported,
cut.
yeah. Especially if it's imported.
Yeah, especially. And if so,
And it's not to this show is not to scare people.
Right.
It is
Inform
to
you.
inform people so they can make
Right.
good, healthy choices, sanitary choices,
and it
so they can limit the
Right.
risk. And
Sure.
because a lot of these things, they can be. I mean, I know for me, and especially I feel like for a lot of women, this can be terrifying.
Oh, it can be, but they're nothing to worry about. Even the worms are nothing, and we're going to show you how to get rid of them.
people have filters in their water systems at home.
Yeah, those are.
Does that take care of it, you think?
Well,
Just
again,
don't
that does
drink the
that's
tap water right
Yeah.
from it.
and again, it's less likely to get parasites from the tap water, but you can. But
Okay.
chlorine kills a lot of them.
Okay.
Okay, here are the there are three main classes of parasites. First of all, they're the ectoparasites that live on the outside of your body, like ticks and fleas and mites and scabies and lice. They literally live on the outside. Those are nothing to worry about. This permethrin, which is Nix, over the counter, kills most all of those. And just get your dog flea and tick type collar or medicine for the dog.
Nix, is that like a
Nix is
ingest?
a cream rinse that
Oh.
you can use it for lice or scabies. You put it on from your chin down, and then you rinse it off after 8 or so hours, and it kills most all of the ectoparasites, so those external parasites. Then there's the worms, the helminths. The helminths are huge in this country, and most people don't. Helminths. Helminths are parasitic worms that infect the GI tract. There are three classes. There's the roundworms that are called nematodes, and these include the ascaris worms that are about a foot long. I'll show you pictures of these in just a minute. There's the hookworms that actually, the worm larvae live in sand and in dirt areas. And when you walk barefoot, they burrow into your skin. They have these enzymes that penetrate your skin, and then it hooks in, and then it literally burrows into your skin like a corkscrew, and then crawls under your skin, called larvicutaneous migrants. We'll talk about it.
Circular ones that make the.
We're going to show you a picture of it in just a sec. And then you have the pinworms that are the most common worm in this country. And again, about 4 million people have pinworm infections every year, that's huge. 40 million. I said 40 million.
You have pinworms.
That's huge.
This is important.
Yeah.
Moms, listen. Is your children will be scratching in their private part.
They will have perianal itching, and they'll also itch in the rectum, and won't sleep, and also they'll get vaginal itching too. Severe itching, worse at night. They come out at night, and they hatch their eggs at night, and we'll talk about that in just a minute.
Yes, and you know how I know? I got them as a kid. And I remember our family, it goes through the whole family as we were all kids. And we're all going around itching that night. Mom, they
Spreading their worms to each other.
oh my
my
God.
God.
It really itches. It really
And when you scratch your yourself there, you get the pinworm eggs under your nails and transferred to other family members.
No, that's not when the dog scratches
No,
his butt.
no.
Only humans.
Humans. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, but if a dog is itching its butt across the carpet, that's a sign they got worms too. Okay, then we talk about pinworms. Toxoplasma worms are the worms in dogs and cats, the poop of dogs and cats. And trichinella is the worm that's in a lot of pork. And that's why you want to make sure you cook your pork, because there's trichinosis or trichinella worms. Those are the nematodes or the roundworms. Then the second category, the tapeworms. You've got the beef tapeworm, which is Tinea saginata, from eating rare meats, rare steaks. But it's rare here in this country. There's the pork tapeworm that is in pork mainly, and it's eating rare meat or by ingesting eggs that's in water.
So why is it in pork? Why does it choose to make it?
Pork is a very, but that's why Leviticus 11 describes animals that we shouldn't eat, because pork is a dirty animal, and there's lots of tapeworms in pork, lots of.
Okay.
In slaughterhouses, tapeworms, when they slice those intestines open, teeming with tapeworms, I've heard from workers in slaughterhouses. And
dirty animals.
they're just dirty, they're unclean, very dirty animals.
They eat everything.
They'll eat garbage.
But pork is bacon.
Yeah.
Right? Pork
But it's
your sausage, your hamburger meat.
Right, but if it's been cooked,
as long as you cook it to 160 degrees through and through, then it kills all the parasites
that are there.
So you got to cook it thoroughly. And then there's fish tapeworm.
Raw.
And you get fish tapeworms from eating raw or undercooked fish. You say, what about sushi? They freeze it at a certain temperature for so long that it kills all the tapeworms.
Well, out of these, which ones are most dangerous?
We're going to talk about them in just a minute. And then we're just talking about the categories. Then there's the flukes. The flukes are the worst. They're the flatworms. The tapeworms are like a tape, and the flukes are the flatworms. And these are they're categorized according to the organs they live in. They're liver flukes, they're lung flukes, they're blood flukes. Like, for example, the liver fluke, Clonorchis, is one of the main causes of biliary tract cancer in the world, especially in Southeast Asia, like in Vietnam. But we don't have problems with those in this country, so we're going to kind of skip over those.
What about bears? Which one, we had a staff member recently.
Bears carry trichinella, which is, we're going to show you that in just a minute, but it causes... and also they carry the tapeworm. Like
we had a staff member eat bear recently.
Yeah, but they call it trichinosis. Trichinosis, where it causes cysts in the muscles, severe muscle pains, and then it causes all kind of problems.
We're not supposed to eat bear.
Bears, well, you got to cook it thoroughly. If you don't cook it, if you cook it at 160 or above, it kills the parasites in it. Bears carry parasites.
So how do people get sick if it's been cooked thoroughly? Because he said that it was cooked thoroughly. I'm just curious. Is there a way for you still to get sick from meat if it's cooked thoroughly?
Well, yeah, if it's bad, if it's old meat or something like that. There's all kind of toxins in it, too. The last group of parasites are Protozoa. They're single-cell parasites that infect the GI tract, the blood, and bodily tissues. Single-cell parasites are Protozoa, like malaria. It comes from Plasmodium, and that infects the red blood cells. There's also Entamoeba histolytica that infects the GI tract, causing diarrhea. There's flagellanate protozoa, which are single-cell organisms that have a tail or whip on it called a flagella. And that's Giardia that causes chronic diarrhea, and also Trichomonas, common cause of sexually transmitted disease because it lives in the vagina and the urinary tract.
And that's a parasite.
It's a parasite, yes. They're single cells. So there's worms, there's ectoparasites, there are scabies and mites and lice. There's the helminths, what are the worms? They're roundworms, there are tapeworms, there are flukes that are trematodes. And then we have the protozoa, the single-cell parasites like the amoeba. And then there's a real bad amoeba like the naegleria fowleri that causes meningoencephalitis in the brain. When you're skiing in warm water and that water forces its way through the nose, it can infect the brain, and it's got a 97% fatality rate. Or if you use a neti pot or one of these forceful neti pots with tap water, it can cause that naegleria, that horrible naegleria that's an entamoeba, into the brain and cause a horrible form of encephalitis. 97% fatal.
What about the lavage thing?
You got to use distilled water and not tap water. If you use tap water, it doesn't kill it.
And we actually know of people that have died.
You're kidding.
From it getting into their
blood. It's rare. It's real rare.
10% of Americans, not in the world, but Americans have one of these parasites at any given time.
It's increasing in frequency now due to immigration. Well, about half have been exposed, around half, because you look at the dog parasites, and about 5 to 14% have antibodies to the Toxoplasma worm parasite. So that's millions of people.
And is that the parasite that stays with you for life until you kill it?
Well, again, it may not. Many times we just pass them symptomless into the stool. The Toxoplasma is the one I'm worried about because more than 60 million people have it. They have the antibodies to it. It lies inside your cells, but when you're immunocompromised or when you're older, it comes out and can cause sense of confusion, seizures, all kind of these weird symptoms. People think they got Alzheimer's or something, and it's really this Toxoplasma reactivating.
Oh, you're kidding.
And yes, and spreading through their brains, see.
And, Don will have his patients come in. And
Yeah.
what is amazing, one lady came in and they did an MRI on her because they thought she had Alzheimer's because she was having the memory issues and stuff.
She is a missionary.
A missionary and did some work in South America. And then she started having memory issues, and they did the MRI and they saw cysts in her brain where she was just covered with parasites
In the brain.
Right, but they were calcified. But they treated her, but she lost her memory.
So they're calcified because they died, and then they just...
The body, when you have this, it's called neurocysticercosis. It's a rare pork tapeworm parasite that gets into your brain. And it literally was encasing in cysts, calcified cysts, and she lost her memory. She had to come home from her missionary trip. But we put her on a program, it restored her memory.
There's no way to, I guess they can't scrape your brain like they can't.
No, but the good news
there's medicine for it.
This is what I want people to know. The good news is her memory's totally restored now.
It's gone.
She is fine. I did a video with her
right.
to share her testimony. Her husband, her family, they all can't believe how much, she is completely restored.
Okay, Toxoplasma. This is a major microscopic protozoa parasite that we're seeing here. Over 60 million people in the U.S. are chronically infected with it, and it comes from cats. In fact, it's present in 20 to 50% of stray cats' feces, stray cats. It's present in about 11% of domesticated cats' feces.
So if it's in their feces, it's in their gut.
Well, what happens, it's in their feces. So that cat has a litter box. Most kitties have litter boxes. When you clean a cat's litter box, many of the dried poop becomes aerosolized with these parasites in it. So that when it becomes aerosolized, it can literally get in your mouth or get in your nose and can infect you that way.
These parasites are so small they can
they're microscopic. They're single-cell protozoan parasites.
You can breathe.
Yes.
So if you have a friend and you go to their house, even though you're not in the litter box.
It's while you're cleaning the litter box.
While you're cleaning it. The cat feces becomes dried, and then when you stir it up, it aerosolizes it up. It can go up in your mouth or in your nostrils.
Oh, my goodness.
So you can get this from gardening and soil where cats have their poop in the soil, drinking contaminated water containing cat feces, eating unwashed fruits and vegetables containing cat feces. But it's not contagious. If you're pregnant, you can literally pass the parasite to the fetus. It can cause chorioretinitis and blindness in an infant, brain damage, hydrocephalus, small brains, microencephalus where the brain is shrunken, and other neurological developmental problems. But most people have no symptoms. Sometimes when they have symptoms, they're similar to mononucleosis with muscle aches and fever and chills and sweats and swollen glands.
The
Mono.
Mono kissing virus.
The worst cases are usually in immunocompromised people that are older, that are on chemotherapy, that are on long-term steroids. It can cause confusion in these people, seizures, blurred vision. And there's the drug of choice is pyrimethamine, along with folinic acid, which is like folic acid. It's diagnosed with PCR testing. You can test the blood or the stool. Usually the blood is in the blood. You can pick it up with polymerase chain reaction testing. But
now we're going to continue this, so don't go anywhere. We're going to give you answers. It's very exciting. You do not have to be too freaked out about the...
No, we got the answers to all this. We're going to be talking about the answers.
But we are at the end of this show.
We're up. What are we going to be talking about on the next show?
More parasites.
Are you going to go
more parasites?
Solutions?
Yeah.
How do we kill these things?
Yes, we're going to be talking about the words how to kill them.